Welcome to Present Scholars Perspectives, where we spotlight voices from CSULB's most prestigious merit-based scholarship. The scholarship is awarded to individuals who demonstrate exceptional leadership potential, commitment to community service, and innovative thinking. In this show, we'll get to know some of these present scholars and dive into their unique insights and perspectives on a variety of topics. I'm your host, Vince Norga, Associate Director for the University Honors Program and Administrator for these talented scholars. Join us as we celebrate their journeys and explore the impacts that they are prepared to make in our communities and beyond. Joining me today is aerospace engineering major Damian Villalobos and studio art major Moth Leal. Hello, scholars. How are you doing today?
Hello.
Doing pretty good.
Are you prepared to talk about AI and its future impacts in your careers?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, I am.
All right. Well, then let's start with Damian. In your day-to-day, how often are you currently using AI?
I'm mainly using AI as like a calculator for like my exams because it's kind of hard to balance like time and assignments and studying. So AI is kind of like the thing I get to use on my phone and just ask it questions that like I can't really immediately have to email someone or ask someone new in my classes. And it kind of digests it in a way that I can like more or less like understand it.
Okay, so is it more impactful than the calculator of the past that was pre-AI?
Yeah, because I don't really know how to use those other calculators because in ChatGPT, I can kind of just type it out like how I would, and it will kind of just understand what I'm trying to say. And if anything, I can just stop it and then just clarify it, and then it will just ask me like what else I need.
So it's like having a professor in your pocket that's always there to just, it's your pocket professor to help you out. And it will take any question, not just like calculators, which have to be specifically formulated to the answer, to whatever the calculator is expecting to receive in order to output an answer. It can think a little bit.
And like all those like really fancy calculators that they want us to get for like exams, they're like 120, they're like $50. I tried to get like the $15 or $12 one, but like for AI, it's like free on the end. As long as I like give them my information, like I'll have it for free.
Hey, you can have my email, sure.
I didn't.
All the information in the world for the price of my email is something I'd be willing to pay.
Yeah. Well, how about you, Moth? How do you use AI in your day-to-day?
So I don't really use AI at all in my day-to-day because I'm an artist and it is greatly frowned upon in most art circles to just use AI, especially because a lot of it is about doing your own work and having your own ideas, using your skills to demonstrate things that come from you, from your head, from your heart, from just all of your experiences culminating into whatever you output. I have used AI in the past to make like posters for clubs, like daily stuff where it's like I need to find the best way to advertise the astronomy club to get donations. And I can't think of anything. And I just go on ChatGPT and I'm like, hey, please give me a flyer, an advertisement. And I will pick and choose from things in there because it gives me ideas. It's really easy for that. But I've seen some people using AI for art. It makes me a little bit sad because they call themselves AI artists when all they're doing is typing in a prompt and they think that, oh, that is what makes them an artist, is that they came up with the prompt. But it's really not, because a lot of AI databases are built off of stolen artwork that they found on Google, which links to people's portfolios, their Instagrams, their like, so any social media where they post art, it's all ripped from that. And I remember in the beginning, before AI really like got the hang of it, you could see like mangled signatures in the corners of a lot of AI art because it was all stolen. They were like, oh, there's like a thing here always, and it's the signature of the artist from the stolen work. So we kind of don't use AI in the art department. We kind of stay away from it. But I do see how it's helpful with like math and physics and coding, because if AI can do your coding and you type in, can you just do this code real quick, and it pumps it out, I think that's what AI should be used for, rather than doing the art and music and culture that humans are supposed to do.
For cultural stuff.
Absolutely.
But it sounds like it's good for when you have like an artist block, kind of like a writer's block.
No, yeah, 100%.
Very cool. Very cool. And then how about from aerospace engineering? Do you feel like that it's taken a big hold in your field?
I don't know. I feel like a lot of people like are over like hyping it because like when she said that I was gonna use it for like code or anything. Sometimes I just put in like a program and then like I'll like not steal it but like inspire it, and then it just won't work. So then I don't even like use it for coding or anything. Like I'll ask it for like a certain command, but then I just end up having to do it like by myself without like its help, because sometimes it's not really all that.
Right, so it's not reliable because it's still in its early stages, or?
Yeah, it is still in its early stages when it comes to like that kind of like computer science. Because I know right now they're developing AI that's supposed to take over like software development, which isn't really that exciting because that's kind of scary. But yeah, it's kind of not too exciting when it comes to having to overtake STEM jobs. Thanks.
Right.
So
Yeah, so I know it's going for STEM and for the art fields, right? So,
Yeah.
In the art community, you know, I've been hearing more of it being used for like the like movie kind of production, like animation.
They've started being able to do videos with AI. It looks terrible. The majority of stuff I've seen have been these weird cat videos on Instagram of just like squishy cats like going through the most tragic experiences ever, with like music made of meows in the background. It's very weird. But also that's like the funny thing that has been circulating online, but there is a real stuff going on where they're trying to make like movies with AI, and like a lot of the jobs that like I specifically am going into is doing concept art for people, where they come to me with their idea that they came up with their friends one night and they're like, this would be an awesome TV show, dude. And I just go, yeah, absolutely, totally. What do you want me to draw for you? And they would pay an artist to make these concept designs. And now instead of having that be done by a real person, they could just go to like an AI image generating website and be like, make me a character wearing this stupid hat in this stupid color. And then they can even animate that now. And it just is really taking away a lot of jobs. And it's very scary because right now a lot of the AI stuff is free. You can just go and generate like a video right now if you wanted to. And that's a lot cheaper than paying for artist labor and their ideas. And I understand it's the same thing with like the coding is you're not paying for software engineers anymore if you can have ChatGPT do it out in half the time. And maybe like right now it's not very good, but it's scary how fast it's developing every day.
I was gonna ask, do you think it's gonna be cool that like, do you see people kind of making like their own like short films with it that they don't have to like spend like too much?
I do see people doing that, and it's nice that people are able to express themselves more creatively through that, but I don't know, it feels lazy to me because rather than having an idea and learning the skills to put it out yourself, you're just having a robot do it for you when there are people who are happy and willing to do it, and it's taking away a chance from yourself to like learn a skill, create a thing, and be proud of it. Because it's just, I don't know, I from like a moral perspective, I'm like, let's just not let the robots make all the art and music and culture so that we can labor in the fields, you know?
Yeah, no, I totally hear that because for myself, I do music and stuff on the side, and hearing like the AI music, it's just like, well, what's the point of having had learned instruments and stuff and the human soul that goes behind the actual art of it, right?
Yeah.
Whereas it can put out something and it's you know, kind of perfect, you know, in its input, but it's lacking that kind of human kind of element behind it, right?
Imperfection is part of what makes us human, and I like it when we discover things by being imperfect. Like music, people will create songs and they'll have some weird mess up, like the guitar will do something strange and they'll go, that actually sounds really cool.
Right.
And
it's
that
the happy accident.
Yeah. And with AI, it doesn't do that. It cuts it all out, makes it all perfect and
yeah. Exactly. Well, I know we were talking about some stuff and you had mentioned that you were in clubs. Are both of you in different clubs?
So we're both in the astronomy club.
Oh, together?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So different majors, both in the astronomy club. What's that like?
It's fun. It's a lot of science majors and STEM majors in there, but there are more and more like outside majors coming in as the club gets bigger who are interested in looking at the stars and telescopes and all kinds of stuff. I really enjoy doing it. I'm a committee chair member for the fundraising, so I'm always trying to like get money for the club and encourage more people to join. But it's really fun being able to interact with different majors and hearing like different perspectives. Like I have a best friend, he's a physics major, and he tells me about how ChatGPT just lives on his computer and never leaves and the tab never closes and helps him out with all of these awful math problems that have devolved from numbers into letters and then back into numbers again, which scares me, makes me nauseous. I don't even want to think about that. But it helps him a lot with that. And just being able to see different perspectives on all kinds of stuff, like giant textbook, all of these homework assignments. Oh, it's only 3 problems, but the 3 problems are like 6 pages long. It's nice to be able to see other perspectives when you're in your classes, you're really just surrounded by the same groups of people.
Yeah. How about you? Is the club inspiring you as well in different ways?
Everything they said started bringing back the trauma. But the club, it's fun because we get to go to Joshua Tree. So we're going to try to do that. I don't know how we're doing on funds. I don't know if we're going to go.
We'll be able to do it.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Really fun.
We have the funds to do it. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, I see Moth at like every event we try to go to because we also do the same dorm. So we're on the same dorm floor. So we kind of see each other. We see Rayon a lot.
The president of the astronomy club and also a president scholar.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think we'll be hearing from them later.
Really fun. What was the question?
I was just wondering, like, if there's a club for you.
Oh, for me, I kind of said what I had to say. I tried to get involved. I want to like be on the chair, or I don't know.
Did you apply for the projects board?
I did not. I'd be procrastinating, but like,
But yeah, you're gonna eventually get into a leadership position. It sounds like in that club.
Yeah. There's like things just like going on with like school, so I'm trying to. I like the astronomy club, but I'm trying to allocate my time more into like projects, hopefully. So, but the chair sounds fun.
All right. Well, talking about going back to school and stuff, future careers, where do you see yourself after graduation in terms of your field?
Well, I really hope that I'm able to get an internship either this year or next year with one of the major animation companies, be that DreamWorks, Pixar, or Disney. Well, I guess Pixar and Disney are the same thing, but they're different studios. I know that next week there's going to be conversations around that, and I hear that Disney is potentially, don't take my word on this is just rumors that have been floating around, training their artists to do cleanup work again, which means they might be going back to doing more 2D animation, which I'm really excited about because all of the classic movies that I grew up on are 2D animated. Like I love Tarzan, I love Lost City Atlantis, I love those styles and animation, and I'm very excited that there's not going to be more live action remakes. There's going to be going back to hand-drawn animation. So ideally I would be having an internship or working on projects through those companies. And of course with side jobs, because as much as I love doing art, you got to be realistic about it. And it's very hard to get like a full-time job that will completely take care of your salary in the art business. A lot of people have multiple side jobs. Like I run like an Etsy shop. I was tabling at an art fair this week earlier just to make that extra income. So I'm well aware that I'm going to be working multiple jobs for the rest of my life, but I'm doing something that I really love, so it makes it worth it.
Well, that's good. Well, I want to thank you both for your interesting insights in our AI topic today, and hopefully in the future aspect of life and stuff, that everything will go good in your careers, and then you'll be being able to use it impactfully in a different way than what it's currently kind of going this way.
Yeah.
All right. Well, when we return after our short break, we'll be pondering the future roles of social media in society here on President Scholars Perspectives.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. He asked all his therapists to help him undertake some of the house chores. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey.
We are back. Next on Present Scholars Perspectives, we'll be discussing thoughts about the future roles of social media on society and what forms it might take. Joining me is biochemistry major Priscilla Ceja and nursing major Jessica Melchor. How are you both doing today?
We're good.
Yeah?
I'm doing really good. Thank you.
All right. Well, then we'll start with Jessica. How does social media currently take part in your life today?
Social media, I would say, takes a big part in my life. I mean, it takes a big part in society in general, and I believe it has severe advantages and disadvantages overall. And I don't know about Priscilla, but for me, social media, it's woven into my school, into my job. Every aspect of my life is around social media, I would say.
Okay. How about you, Priscilla?
So I believe that social media has, she spoke about the advantages, but for disadvantages, I believe that it may have a very detrimental role in society. A lot of people reported, after COVID, that they felt like they lost their social skills. So I worry for future generations who grow up with social media, they can use it as a crutch. And instead of developing their social skills and talking to their peers, they may choose to ignore them and go on their phone. So I'm very worried about that.
That's an interesting point. How old were you when you first got into social medias?
For me, I would say around maybe 10 years old is when I first got Instagram, and my dad was very against it. With good reason. There are so many things on the internet you don't want your children to see. But I was able to convince him because I needed to stay connected with my peers. As Priscilla said, there are a lot of disadvantages, and as she said, COVID has played a big role in how we interacted with people because we couldn't go outside for a long time. And I do think we're going to see in the upcoming years the different side effects of that. And I feel as though that, social media, I don't know what I'm going to say. Yeah.
Well, so you said you started at 10 years old, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like that was too young for yourself? If you were to go back in time now,
I
would you have
definitely
stopped yourself?
think it was too young for me because my brain wasn't fully developed. I didn't really know how to interact with other people, especially there are so many other older people on social media. I don't really know this. I didn't have the social skills or capacity to interact with those people. I don't know about Priscilla, how old she was.
So my mom was on the stricter side, so she didn't let me have a smartphone until I was a sophomore in high school. So a very long time. And sometimes it did affect me because I needed an app to do certain things. But other than that, I feel very thankful that she did that because I feel like it made me more creative in a sense. But yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that. Myself, I didn't have a smartphone until way after all of school, right? So, I didn't have anything to rely on other than, the old looking up stuff,
Yeah.
So you were talking earlier about jobs and stuff. Do you use social media in your job? And what is your job that you currently do?
Yes, I'm currently an SI leader here at Cal State Long Beach for anatomy. And essentially SI, it stands for supplemental instruction. So we take historically difficult courses and we create activities for students who I have taken the class. So I'm helping current students who are taking that course and guiding them through the different topics and issues that arise through such a hard course as anatomy. And I would say social media plays a huge role because we do have a page, as do a lot of clubs and organizations on campus, to get people to interact with our certain organization. And I would say it's very positive. This week actually was SI Appreciation Week. So we were very heavily focused on social media, and a lot of my bosses came into our jobs and gave us little goodie bags of congratulating us for our efforts in this job. So I feel like social media, it's a very good place. As Priscilla said, it is detrimental to some people, but as I like to think of it as a double-edged sword. It has its pros and cons.
Okay. Priscilla, do you have any clubs, jobs on campus?
Yeah, so I'm the publicity officer of the Rewild Club.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how does social media play a impact into your clubs?
So I definitely think that social media helps to promote activities. So if it weren't for social media, I mean, I'm the social media manager of the club, right? So it definitely does help spread the word and keep people in the circle. Because if we rely on flyers, not everyone sees those. Like, you're busy going to class, people don't see that. But people are always on their phones. So if we post something, we get the help that we need. We get donors, we get volunteers, and we can announce all our important updates.
So you use social media as kind of like advertisements for your events?
Yeah.
Oh, very good, very good. Now, let's say if we're looking into the future, like 2035, do you think Instagram is still going to be the platform, or do you think it's going to change into something else?
I think that it's going to change, because before, Facebook used to be the platform, and before that it was like MySpace, and I think that things just change as the years go by. People are going to get tired of Instagram. They're going to be like, that's for old people, and people say that about Facebook now, so I definitely think it will change.
Yeah. How about you, Jessica?
I believe it's already changing. I feel like the new platform is TikTok for sure, because there's so much versatility that comes with it, and I feel like anybody from all age groups can interact with it. There's so many different like sides to it. There's like a makeup side, or there's like a funny side, or like a business aspect. I feel like change is inevitable. I mean, with life comes change. So I feel like there's always going to be a new, better, bigger, better like platform, new app. So I feel like I don't know what's to come, but I'm excited for it. I mean, I like social media. I don't want to look at my screen time, honestly. It's kind of make me a little embarrassed, but I believe it's good, in my opinion.
Okay. So you think it will change, but it's still going to change for the better?
I think it'll change for the better, yes. Right. And I also agree with Priscilla that it does have detrimental effects. And for me, I know Priscilla currently doesn't have an Instagram, because I don't want to speak for her, but do you want to speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I actually don't have an Instagram or a TikTok, because I would find myself, especially during COVID, spending hours and hours and hours a day. And it really stifled my creativity, because I'd be witnessing other people do things and not have ideas of my own. I wouldn't pursue my own projects. And now that I've deleted both those apps, I have had a lot more hobbies. So I had a motorcycle, I surf, I like to paint and do a lot of things.
Okay, so without it, you feel like you're more free to kind of live and do things. That's interesting. And how about you?
I currently, as I said, have an Instagram, but I have noticed over the years that it has, as Priscilla says, stifled maybe my creativity. And I feel like social media, I feel like it makes you kind of have this thing called FOMO. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's like fear of missing out. And it makes you think that other people are living a better life than you, even though it's all a facade. Everyone's just living behind these screens and painting a pretty picture. But I feel like everyone has their issues. Everyone goes through mental health crises and goes through like economic things, but we don't see that on screen. We just see I went to Hawaii, but it costs a lot of money, so now I don't have money for my rent next month. It's just, we all like to paint these pretty pictures, and I feel like that is damaging for not only like our generations now, but future generations to come, because it's going to continue that cycle.
Do you think that in the future iterations of social media, if there was regulations put on things so that you could maybe negate FOMO, right? Or like put a setting, I don't want to see anything FOMO related.
Yeah, no.
Would that be helpful?
Yeah, I feel like on TikTok, they're actually implementing some sort of things like that, like regulations. I'll be scrolling on TikTok like at 1 a.m, and then I'll get an ad being like, stop scrolling, you've been on it for a while. So there are already some regulations in place to control and facilitate people being on that app for so long. You know what I mean?
I don't think there will necessarily be regulations, but I do think that as a generation, we're starting to notice the effects. So I believe that what will happen is that in the future generation, it will be very frowned upon to let your kid have a phone at a certain age. And it'll be frowned upon to doom scroll. Or, yeah, because I wanted to add on to one of your points, but I forgot what it was going to say.
The point that it was everyone has a mask, it's kind of like a facade.
Oh, yeah, that. So I was going to say, because of social media, I feel like people will look at other people and they're like, they have so much fun. And instead of learning to live in the moment and make the best of everything they have,
they tend to see other people and feel bad about themselves. And I feel like when I deleted my TikTok and my Instagram, I wasn't like looking at people anymore do stuff. I did the stuff. I had my own fun. So yeah.
I agree. I like that statement a lot. When I, excuse me, when I ever like step away from my phone for like camping or like something where I'm not able to have my phone or no reception, at first I kind of go through like a little shock, like a shock. It's like, oh my God, like Priscilla and I were talking before this and our points that we were going to bring up. It's that when you don't know how to interact with someone, it's like you go straight to your phone. You can start like at the dinner table, or you're having dinner with your friends and everyone's just scrolling on their phone and like not living in the moment. But when I'm taking that crutch away, it's like I feel so much better about myself. Like I'm living in the moment. I'm living with my friends, and it's like
I think
better.
People have to deal with the fact that sometimes you have to be at least a little uncomfortable, and you have to learn how to live through that.
So what if restaurants implemented like Wi-Fi dead zones?
Oh,
That would be very interesting.
I think that'd be really interesting. Or like, I know there's this thing, like a trend that was going around that if first person to pick up their phone has to pay for everyone's dinner. So like that's something people can start implementing to like be less reliant on their phones.
I do think that in the future, I have hope that people will start to frown upon things like this and implement, like you said, a dead zones or regulations, or not let their kids have a phone at a certain age.
Yeah, I agree. Because I like to be hopeful for the future. I know there's always going to be like something that's going to hinder our progress as a society, but I think technology is only going to advance, and hopefully with that, society will advance too, and people will evolve with it.
Okay. How about future careers? Do you feel like social media in either of your future careers will be impactful in any way?
Yeah, so I plan on being a registered nurse. I don't know which field I want to go into, but I definitely feel social media will have an impact, because I'm not sure. What do you think, Priscilla? Because Priscilla also wants to go into nursing, I believe.
I am actually not sure yet, but right now I'm doing HIV research. I don't think that social media will have much of an effect in the academic side of things. So in research, because it's not like you can easily advertise something like that. So in the research world, you publish articles and you publish everything you post has extensive research. And it's not like just anyone could like understand it in a sense. You need to study it for years and years. So I don't believe social media will have much of a detrimental effect on that, if that makes sense.
Like more like you would have to take your research and dwindle it down into a small little sentence, right, for the public to digest.
Yeah, it's not something you can really condense. You kind of have to study it for years to understand it. So it's not like the public's gonna have an effect on that.
Yeah. For nursing, however, now that I had time to like digest the question a little bit, I feel like already I've been on nursing talk. That's what they call like nursing TikTok. And I feel like people use it to promote like healthy lifestyles and healthcare. And I feel like some people are very against the healthcare industry, maybe because Western medicine isn't maybe their thing or they don't prefer it. But I feel like, especially with TikTok nowadays, it promotes people going to the hospital, people getting checked out. And like, I've been on the medical side or mental health side of TikTok, and I learned so much about my own mental health and some things that I wasn't aware of or wasn't even educated on, because there's not a lot of certain things don't have education. And I feel like TikTok and the internet can really spread that information. But then there's the other side where misinformation could be spread. I know Priscilla and I were talking about this earlier, that with the new age of technology and AI, there can be misspread of a bunch of information, and people who claim to be professionals who aren't actually, and just trying to spread their agenda or whatever they may want to do.
Well, that's very interesting thoughts, and I appreciate both your time being here today and talking about this topic, and it was great insights. So looks like we are out of time. So thank you again, Priscilla and Jessica, for your thoughts and insights on today's topics. And to our viewers at home, thank you for spending your time here with us today with President Scholar Perspectives.